Hello and welcome to the Behind the Screens podcast with me, Curtis.
And me, James. And today we're joined by Sophie Jones. How you doing, Sophie?
Hello, I am good, thank you. How are you guys?
All good.
All good.
All good. The Queen of Rejection Therapy.
Queen of Rejection Therapy.
Talk to us. How did that all come about? How did you start creating this sort of content?
Well, I had a TikTok page where I posted mindset tips because I've always been passionate about self-development. But I knew I had a fear of rejection and it would hold me back in ways that I didn't even realise. And I saw a girl pop up on my For You page asking to make her own coffee, and it just made my skin crawl. Like, the audacity, what are they going to think of me? So it was obvious that I clearly had a fear of rejection. So I thought I'll do a 30-day challenge of purposely getting rejected for 30 days straight and just see what happens. And it literally changed my life.
What was the worst thing you did in those 30 days?
Oh God. One that really springs to mind is going to the petrol station and going up to someone random and saying, "Can I fill the petrol up for you?"
Yeah.
And I was stewing my mind about it, thinking, why am I so nervous to do this? And I think it's because the petrol station is the one place in the world where you don't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Like, you literally just fill your car up. So I'd say that was the most nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I don't know why I was agreeing. I don't drive. I've never filled up a car, actually.
Yeah, that is weird.
Well, you should go up to someone and ask.
Yeah. What did they say when you asked to do it?
Well, I asked an old man, and I think he probably thought that I thought he was incapable of doing it himself. So he's proper like cold. I was like, no.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the ideas for all these different videos?
The internet, and then other people have done it on YouTube and stuff. So I took inspiration from their ideas. But I'd normally just go into a place and think, what can I do in this location that's going to get me rejected? And then there's like an abundance of ideas.
Is there one thing you've done that, like, it was so bad you're never going to do that again and you wouldn't even recommend others try it?
Ooh, the one that springs to mind is quite recent. I got invited to an influencer event, which was obviously lovely, but the campaign that they were doing was called Don't Shush Me. So someone said to me, why don't you just be really obnoxiously loud and kind of make the point of, well, don't shush me. So that's what I did. And I started singing What Does the Fox Say? Unprovoked, out of the blue, in front of all these strangers that I'd never met. Obviously, everyone's social media savvy. And it just went silent. And I was going, and I never really cringe watching my own videos back, but that I cringed at.
I find it mad because I am someone who cares what people think about me. Like, I really have that as a thing. Like, we performed like diss tracks on here with a DJ once and I couldn't do it. I was like shaking, nervous with it. So I don't get how you can just like stand in front of a room and do it.
I know, me neither. But I have learned it's desensitization. Like, the more you do it, the more your brain realizes that it's not actually as scary as you think.
Do you think because you record it and there's like a performative element to it that also makes it easier?
People say this, and I think no, because if you are filming yourself, you're bringing more attention to yourself. So people always used to comment saying, oh, well, you're filming it for TikTok, so it's so much easier. But I would much prefer to do it with no camera recording me. But obviously the camera aspect means that I can use it to inspire other people.
Yeah. I feel like as well, if people are like, what is this girl doing? You can be like, oh, I'm just filming a TikTok. I feel like if you're not filming a TikTok, how do you explain like what you're doing? So if I was to go and do one of these challenges, like, what would I say?
True. But then even if you had nothing to say, and what? What if you're just dancing in the middle of the street for the fun of it?
Yeah. It
is
like
scary.
pains me even to think about it. What is the strangest thing someone has said you should do?
Oh, go into somebody's wedding unannounced and ask to make a speech. I haven't done that for obvious reasons.
So you're not going to?
Absolutely not. I set a boundary that I'll never do anything that's completely like rude or disrespectful. And I think gate crashing someone's wedding, as much as it may go viral, it's definitely not worth the moral aspect.
Fair.
What was like the initial reaction to when you first started posting videos? What were people saying? Do they think you were being serious, or were they just like, what the fuck is going on?
The response was like overwhelming with how positive it was, because when I first started doing it, like I didn't have a following. I was genuinely just doing it for my own self-development challenge. And I thought it was stupid. I just thought I'd watch these videos back of me going and asking to try on someone's shoes in Tesco's and think this is cringy. So then when people were messaging me saying, oh my God, these are inspiring me to go and order my coffee, or me and my boyfriend have started getting rejected on purpose, I was like, oh my gosh, these videos are having more impact than I actually realise. So it took me a while to actually get any negative comments.
And how do you react to the negative comments that you get? Is it just don't care, whatever?
Well, because I'm doing rejection therapy, if I don't care what the general public think, it kind of, when I get an online hate comment, I just apply the same mindset to it, that it can't actually hurt me unless I let it.
Yeah. Has anything ever got to you that someone said?
Sometimes people will say, oh, you're attention seeking, but I know that's not true. Sometimes that triggers me, but I think it's because deep down I'm scared of looking like I'm attention seeking. So that's why it triggers me. But I mean, I'm not doing it to attention seek. If anything, I wish it's nerve wracking.
Yeah.
What was the kind of driving force behind you wanting to do it? Like, did you suffer with fear of rejection, and was it a big part of your life?
Yeah, but like I said earlier, it held me back in ways that I didn't realise. So, for example, if I'd made some nice cakes and I didn't think you guys wanted one, I just wouldn't even offer because I would be scared of the rejection. And I always used to tie rejection to my self-worth, which I've now realised is completely unrelated. So then it would stop me putting my ideas forward in work in case they didn't like it, or stop me reaching out to an old friend, getting into relationships. That's how it would hold me back. And it wasn't until I started doing rejection therapy that I was like, I've been holding myself back so much. And now, from overcoming the fear, I can actually live a life of freedom.
That's interesting.
Do you think everyone should put themselves out there like that?
Yeah, but what I would say is take it slow. Like, I take it to the extreme in my videos, but that is because I've been doing it daily for about a year now. But when I first started, I didn't start even posting it on TikTok. I started with my friends and family. So if I had a hairbrush, I'd say to my sister, like, do you want to borrow my hairbrush? No, full well, she'd say no. And then slowly build it up. I wouldn't say to people, just go and dance in the street if you don't feel like you're capable of doing that right now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you were doing it before TikTok?
Yeah, before I actually properly started doing the 30-day challenge, I saw it pop up on my feed and then was like, I'm going to do it in my daily life. So my boyfriend, for example, would text me saying, oh, someone's just phoned in sick to work. So I'd text him back and be like, oh, do you want me to come and cover the shift? Knowing full well he's going to turn around and say no, but it's just getting used to hearing that no, because I'd never put myself in them situations before.
That's interesting. And what was the first video that really took off?
The first one that really took off was me announcing that I was going to do it. So I just went for a walk in the park and I went with the intention to film myself dancing to TikTok, and there was people playing on the park and I physically could not bring myself to put the phone down and start dancing in front of the camera. So I was kind of documenting me trying to do it in front of everyone, and it came to the conclusion that I just couldn't do it. And then I said, maybe I should do like an exposure therapy series where I purposely do things to overcome it. And that video took off, which I didn't expect, but people were like, you've got to do it now, you've got to do it now. And I had that voice being like, oh, I'm scared, but I thought, just give it a go.
And what were you doing before TikTok? What was life like?
So I worked in a vet as an apprentice. Left that because it wasn't creative enough for me. I was walking around the practice like singing and dancing to myself all the time. So then I went and worked in social media managing. But about 6 months into that, I started my own social media, and that's how it all kind of flowed into each other nicely.
Yeah.
Were you working with any brands people might know when you're doing the social media management?
I did Village Gyms, if anyone knows Village Gym, they've got a chain. But that in itself was exposure therapy, because I used to have to go into the gym and film myself creating content, and that even made my skin crawl, like setting up a tripod, and I'd have to do funny videos obviously to keep it engaging. So like that made my skin crawl as it was. But now I look back and think that moment was prepping me for what I do now.
Was there like as it started to blow up, like what sort of changes did you see in your like day-to-day life? Did things feel any different or just the same?
Yeah, literally within 3 days, started to feel more confident. My boyfriend lives in like a flat and a communal car park. And for some reason, when I come around and visit him, I just thought when I was driving into this car park that everyone was like stood at the windows watching, being like, who's that girl pulling up? Like that's the kind of fears I used to have. Like people were always looking at me. And within 3 days, I thought to myself, you know what? Even if they are looking at me, like who cares? And another big one, road rage. Like it's so infuriating when someone like flips you off and you know you've not done anything. But since I did rejection therapy, it would just go over my head because I thought, so what if they think that I'm in the wrong? I know I'm not, and that's all that matters.
So in the moment, like, are you conscious of that? Are you thinking of these sorts of things, or is it like after the fact? Do you think about it?
I'd say now it's very like subconscious, but at that time I was aware that my thought process was changing like right before my eyes. But I'd say now it's given me the tools to not feel as nervous or anxious. So like coming here today, for example, like 6 months ago, I'd be really nervous. Whereas now I'm like, well, I know I can handle being nervous. So like it'd be okay. Makes you more resilient, I'd say.
I just find it really interesting, like the whole element of just forgetting about nerves and like looking past it. And it's makes a lot of sense that you can use something like this as a tool, but the mindset behind it, I just think is fascinating.
It's so fascinating, and it just can elevate your life in ways, so many ways. Even having the confidence to tell a girl or a guy that you fancy them, like it's a big step, but and what if they reject you? At least you've had the confidence and courage to go and give it a go.
Are there ever things that come of this? So let's say, for example, have you ever had a follower say, I've done everything you said, I now have got the confidence to go and do something, and then they've done something that had negative implications from doing it?
Not that I'm aware of, but I am aware of that. Like, I don't want to advocate for someone to do something that's completely out of their comfort zone and it ends up going the opposite way. Because at the end of the day, when you're playing with your nervous system, you don't want to fall into like a panic attack or any kind of heightened anxiety. So which is why I really emphasize like baby steps, whatever is pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in your daily life, do that. So it might be just talking to your manager or driving a different route to work, like whatever pushing yourself out of your comfort zone looks like for you, do that and then build it up.
Nice.
Who would you say follows you? What do they look like? What do they do? What's their personality?
Oh, I'd say like not. Good question.
That's the first one we've stumped her on.
I know what I want to say, but I don't want it to sound bad. I'd say like the average person, like no one's average, but I think everybody, from whether you're a 15-year-old girl to a 30-year-old mum, can relate to feeling like you care about what people think of you. So like I like to think that I've got, and I know I have got such a varied audience, and it's not just female, it's male as well, which when I first started my content, because I'm a girl, I just assumed other girls would just follow me. But then to get messages from guys being like, you've actually changed my perspective on so much, I'm like, oh wow, this really is like really powerful, and that's so rewarding and fulfilling.
What's the best message someone sent you?
Oh, people have said that I've saved their life.
That's amazing.
Pretty amazing.
I don't, wow, like it literally blows my mind. Like people have said like they've started the year in such a bad place, and through watching my videos, they've had the confidence to go out shopping on their own or do this and do that. And as a result, they've got more confidence and it's changed their life.
That's great.
I got another good one.
Okay.
Someone said when it was New Year's Eve that I was in their like New Year's Eve wish to be like more confident like Sophie Jones.
Nice. That's good. That just must be crazy though, to feel like you've gone from a place of, you know, fear, you're not confident in going out and doing things. Now you're changing people's lives. Like, where does that go from now? Where does that go next?
Before you answer that, when did you start creating content?
I started posting like my mindset tips like August 2023, but May 2024 was when I started doing rejection therapy, and that's when it all took off.
Yeah.
So it's been about a year.
Okay.
That's good growth. To
And
make someone's...
And what's your follower growth looking like? What are you on now?
275,000, 100,000.
Yeah. You're obsessed with the numbers?
No.
Do you look at like the analytics and care about that side of things with the growth, or is it content first?
I always think that if my video helps inspire one person, then to me that's the reason. And I do know being in social media can be so, you can get so involved in the analytics and put your worth on how well a video performs. And don't get me wrong, at times I've definitely thought like, oh no, if this video hasn't done as well as I thought, is it because, you know, am I still relevant, yada, yada, yada. But then I thought, that's irrelevant. Like, I'm not doing this for the growth and the followers. If that comes along with it, absolutely, that's amazing, because that means I'm inspiring more people. But I'm doing it because I'm really passionate about the messages I'm sharing.
Love that.
You can ask your question now. Sorry, mate.
I can't remember what it was, so it's all good. I've got another good one. What is the most secondhand embarrassment you've had watching something else of someone online?
Ooh. I get embarrassed for people that are like bad people that are rude, people that are doing things for the views, like disrespectful things for the views. Like, that gives me secondhand embarrassment.
Interesting. So I was trying to think about what to relate your content to and like what other genre of content. And all I could think was like, you are harmless pranks in a way. Like if you were to relate it to a niche, and you do have the two types of prank videos online. You have the ones where there is essentially a victim, and then there's the victimless pranks where someone's just doing something silly. And they still have to come up and face that like rejection and do something crazy to do a prank. Like, you have to step out of your comfort zone. So I just thought, I don't really know what relevance that has, but I thought it was interesting that like you were looking at these people that are doing not nice stuff. You're doing basically the flip of it, but essentially you're pranking yourself. Does that make sense?
So interesting. So I literally did a video on this yesterday.
Okay.
Like, some people think I'm a prank channel, and I'm not. Like, the reason why I do these videos is to inspire people to overcome social anxiety, because social anxiety is at an all-time high. And by me going up to the coffee worker and saying, can I have a discount? Yes, seems bold and scary, but hopefully that just inspires someone else to think, well, if she can take it to the extreme, then I can go and reach out to that old friend that I've been putting off. So I think that's how people relate it to their daily lives.
Yeah. Do you think there is an element that people do get the enjoyment and like the dopamine hit out of just seeing the awkwardness? So like in a prank, like people watch it to see how people react and how people deal in those situations. Do you think it's almost like people want to see how you do?
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's that engaging aspect to it, and it's entertaining because it's unique and different. But what I really like about the content is it does always have this underlying message of you can do things that you think you can't if you just have the courage to go for it.
Nice. I like it. What's the most secondhand embarrassment you've had?
Doing a podcast with you every week, mate.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. I have to think about that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. What about yourself?
I probably should have prepared an answer myself before doing it.
I can't think of it.
Bart's definitely got something.
Anything that influencers do, man, like pranks and stuff like that, it's just makes me like, I have to pause a video if something is too cringe because I can't watch it. Like, I would have to put my phone away and like actually take a breather before I continue it, or something like that's embarrassing in a movie or like reality shows. If they do something embarrassing, I can't. I have to turn off. It's just too much.
Actually, I'll tell you one. So me and Majid, so Majid's my business partner, we were on a business tour of China, and we were there for we were like 2.5 weeks there. We were having 5-6 meetings a day. It got to the very last meeting, and it was with a big global phone brand. And me and him were sat in the room, and for some reason, Majid got the giggles. And honestly, he couldn't stop laughing for like 15 minutes. And this is in the middle of the meeting, and the client was just sat there going, like, what the heck's going on? And I was just like, I really don't know. And I was like, Majid, you got to stop. He's like, I can't. He couldn't stop laughing. It was unbearable, and we had to end up just leaving the meeting because he just couldn't stop laughing.
Did you win the client?
No. It's just like, something just came over him where he just couldn't stop laughing. I have no idea what it was, but
was he like nervous or something? Just started.
I don't know.
Having a laugh
It was just really, really weird.
How would you overcome that situation?
I'd probably just see the lightness in it. Like, the world needs more laughter. That's hilarious.
Chinese people are very serious, though. That's the thing. So it would just, they've probably never seen anything like that before. So it was a very baffling situation to be in.
Yeah.
Nice.
I bet you went home though and like told everyone about it.
When we got in the taxi on the way back to the hotel, I was just like, what happened, man?
What did he say?
He's, I don't know. He said he found something really funny. Like, and I just couldn't. I can't remember what it was.
Did he tell you what?
He found something really funny. I can't remember what it was, but we were just there laughing in the taxi because we've been doing these meetings back to back every single day for 2.5 weeks, and that was the last one. It was just
You couldn't reach the
chaos.
finish line.
Yeah,
So close.
couldn't reach the finish line like that. Yeah.
Do you have a list of ideas of things you want to do?
Yes.
Is there anything on it that you just can't bring yourself to do yet? Like you want to do it, but
So I'll pull up my list.
yeah, absolutely.
I just have an accumulation of ideas. But you know what's also nice is like this list has proper tracked my progress because I'd put an idea on months ago that like I might have done yesterday. So I'm like, I'm growing, which is nice.
Was there anything you were thinking about doing on this podcast?
No, you know what? It didn't cross mine until I sat here. I thought, God, I bet they think don't do anything.
Part of me was hoping that you didn't have something planned because I don't think I could deal with it. I think that for me, the second-hand embarrassment is probably the one where you went up to the builders. Like watching that clip, I couldn't finish it.
Fair enough.
It was
Oh, the plane one. That was one when
The
I
plane
couldn't-
one, yeah.
That
What
one
did you do on the plane?
I just stood up in the front of the plane and went, have a lovely flight, everyone. Here's to making memories. But I was so nervous for that. But I have this motto in my head that when something makes me nervous, that's the moment you've got to do it.
What was people's reaction to it?
People just look at you, and then the people sat next to me just laughed and thought it was funny. But then 5 minutes later, I was still shaking. And then I looked around and thought, no one is thinking about this now other than me.
They definitely went home and told everyone though.
Yeah. But so
I don't think they would. I think I think what Sophie said, you probably just forget about it. It's like, oh, if that's the
Yeah,
girl that
maybe.
did that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An idea that I had that I literally went into the place to film it and just had to walk out. You know when McDonald's do Monopoly? Doing one of the scratch cards and pretending right there and then I just won 100k and like in front of everyone like, oh my God. But I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
No.
And especially stuff like that, like you've got to act.
Yeah, you've just got to do it.
Do people recognise you like in places if you're doing these things now?
Yes. Not everywhere, but a lot
Yeah.
of places.
What's that feel like?
It actually is really interesting because I thought when I first started doing rejection therapy, I thought like when people know who I am, it will be easier because then there's a reason to why I'm doing these embarrassing things. But now, sometimes I find myself shying away from certain areas if I know people may know who I am. But it's the same thought process again of I'm caring what people think. It's like I'd rather do it in a situation where no, I don't know anyone and no one knows me. But again, that's just the survival part of your brain. So,
Yeah.
and I like to tell myself that like my videos make people's day. And if I personally saw someone do something embarrassing in public, it would just make me laugh. So hopefully other people feel like that. And if not, no problem.
Do you ever feel the pressure of like having to go and do these things? Like, let's say, for example, you filmed something one day, but then I need to post the next day. Oh, I've got to go do that stuff again.
I did feel like that, yeah. Like I've really had to focus on my own mindset around it. So like, yeah, I'd really build myself up to go to Tesco's in a wedding dress, post the video. And then the next day I'm like, right, well, now I've got to do that all over again. So I've realized not to push myself too far. Like at the end of the day, I still have a nervous system that spikes every time I do these videos. So I just ask myself, how can I create a video today that's entertaining or and educational, but isn't going to send my anxiety through the roof?
Yeah.
So it might be like a carousel post, for example, or a talking to camera. And that way I'm not burning myself out.
Yeah, got it.
Is it addictive, like constantly chasing the next like crazy idea and that like dopamine hit from the adrenaline?
You know what? No, like as many times as I've done it, I still get that element of nerve. And it's not until afterwards that I actually feel amazing. And I normally find that like, because the before of anything's the worst, like that's when anxiety thrives. So before I do anything is scary, but then once I've done a video and I've got the dopamine and the adrenaline, then I normally find that I can flow and do loads with ease. It's just getting yourself into it.
Interesting. Do you think rejection therapy is for everyone?
I think everyone could benefit from it to some degree, but I wouldn't say the level like I take it to in my videos is for everybody.
Okay. Go on, elaborate. I feel like there's more to that. You can take it a drink.
There's a saying that's like, don't compare your day 1 to someone's day 100. And I think that's like a really important message with my videos because I can imagine like a young girl watching my videos who's afraid to put her hand up in class, watch me paint my face bright green and go to the supermarket and think I could never. And well, my first response is you could. You are more resilient than you think. But like you'd have to build it up, and you don't have to go to Tesco's with your face bright green to be confident. It may just be that day when you feel like you want to put your hand up, but you don't. Put your hand up and just see what happens. So it's taking it to different levels.
I just love, just in conversation, all the different examples you've got, like the wedding dress to
Got
Tesco.
thousands.
What is, like, if you were to think of the worst thing you've done, what is the
God,
worst?
I always just want to say all of them. I used to get so nervous to have someone film me and then do something really embarrassing in front of them. I've got one. Rings a bell. I was in the streets of Liverpool and I started crawling around on the floor and barking like a dog.
What were people saying to that?
It gets worse. It gets worse. I had a scarf on, so I'd say to people that was passing, "Would you like to walk me?" That was bad, and it really like played on my mind for a while after. And I thought, why has that really bothered me? And I think it's because it was just so derogatory. And this is the first time this has ever happened to me. I was on the floor crawling, going woof woof woof. These teenage girls came up to me, didn't even say hi, stared at me, took a photo, laughed, and walked off. Wow. And I thought, wow, that's never happened to me before, but I still survived, I still breathing, and I just used it to build my resilience, but I won't be crawling around and barking again. Just that one felt.
Did anyone walk you?
No, I got the worst dirtiest looks. But I got rejected, and that was the whole point.
I think it's probably worse that you did in Liverpool as well, of all the places.
Why? What's wrong with Liverpool?
I feel like I would have had a different reaction if you did it in London.
Oh,
People would have thought it would be like a art like piece or something.
Oh, gosh.
What do you think?
What would you have done if someone said yes to walking you?
And they just went you like 2 miles down the road.
Oh, my God. I would have laughed, and then I probably would have watched it back and thought, my God.
What do you think it is about?
That's acceptance, isn't it? It's not being rejected. It's like,
Yeah,
actually, I'm going to walk you.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I guess that's it. Like when people do say yes, is it like, how does that work then in like the therapy side of things? Is it just knowing that things can go well?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say I get more yeses now than I do no's. And I've really realised that people don't like to reject you. Like if people don't have to reject you, they won't. And that's because no one likes getting rejected. If I asked you a question, you probably wouldn't want to reject me because you know that rejection's not very nice. So we all kind of work around it. So the amount of things I've done, like asking to make my own ice cream at an ice cream van, and because I'm asking with like confidence and a smiley face, they just think, go on then. And then I get the cool experience. I think that is inspiring for people because I think it goes to show that the world is full of opportunities, but if you just ask.
Well, one of the first things you said when you got here was you asked if you could get first class on the train, and they said yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just perfect example, like don't ask, don't get sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just got to do it.
Literally.
Has rejection therapy changed the way now that like you deal with all of the scenarios in your life?
Yes.
What do you think's the kind of biggest change? Like what have you got in life from it?
I'd say my inner confidence. I trust myself so much more than I ever did. And when you don't trust yourself, I think it comes out in ways that you wouldn't expect. So like feeling low self-worth and stuff like that. I just trust myself, like coming here today again, for example, like I just knew that I can trust myself to be okay in this situation because I can handle it. And that just elevates your life and so much more because you're free. Yesterday, I went to the park and there was this girl singing. No one's dancing apart from one guy. And I thought, there's a huge crowd here. Everyone wants to get up, but everyone's scared. I thought, I want to dance. I'm just going to go and dance. And I danced and it was fun. And it's little ways like that just elevate your life.
I just find it interesting because like you say you danced and it was fun. I think the nervousness of it would stop it being fun for me. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
So if I was to get up and dance on my own, like that's just not fun now.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to actually sit in it. Like we've had situations in the past that make us feel uncomfortable and awkward, and we always just assume that it will be like that. But when you, rather than push that feeling away and embrace it, so kind of say to yourself like, oh, well, I may feel nervous and awkward on the dance floor, but instead of pushing that away, just embrace it and kind of look around. Because another thing is we think people are looking at us on the dance floor or in the gym or whatever. And if you actually look around, no one really cares. It's just built up in our head. But I guarantee if you went on the dance floor, I mean, you may not, but the more like you get used to being there and your nervous system feels regulated, you then enjoy it. But you've got to put yourself in that situation to see.
Interesting. Are you ready for us to go into our top fives? Have you got any more?
Go for it, mate. Yeah, I was going to ask a question.
Go on, go for it.
I was going to ask, where does this go? Where do you want to take it? What does the long-term vision look like in a year's time, 2 years' time for your content on social?
I have thought about this. I think eventually I'd definitely like to go into TV and inspire people on like a broader scale, because I think energy is infectious and I like to think I've got pure energy. But in terms of where my content can go, I feel like at the time I'll know. I'm very intuitive, and I think right now I'm happy with the content I'm putting out. And if it's going to change, I'll just feel my way through the changes and adapt.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. That is there going to be a time when the rejection therapy just doesn't work anymore? Like you've done the craziest things you can think of, and then it doesn't quite scare you.
This is the point I'm at now. I've been doing it a year and I no longer get nervous to ask questions. So I have thought myself, like, where am I going to take my content? But what I've realised is that the fear of embarrassment and caring what people think is a topic that probably will never go away. So there's always going to be a space for my content. It's just how I reword certain situations and phrases. So instead of just being like, oh, I'm going to go ask for a discount today, explain a bit more why I'm asking for the discount and kind of explain it in more of a valuable educational way, if that makes sense.
Absolutely does. I think now we should move on to the first of our top fives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite interesting preparing for this and then hearing you talk. So the top five we've got is top 5 most embarrassing things people do.
Mm-hmm.
But you've said, you know, people aren't looking at what you're doing. People don't really care. So some of the ones on my list, I feel like is purely based on people looking and what people would think.
Yes.
So if you're ready, should we get stuck into it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so top 5 most embarrassing things people do. Go.
Leaving a hate comment on a social media video.
Nice. Have you ever left a hate comment?
No.
No. My number 5.
We get loads of hate on these top
Yeah.
5. The top 5 is where we get all our hate.
Yeah,
Big time.
We're filming another episode later about haters. So
Oh.
yeah. Number 5 for me, talking about someone without realising they can hear you. That's just so embarrassing.
That's only number 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I embarrass myself a lot. Your number 4?
Having a bogey in your nose.
Oh God. It's a bad one, especially on camera. Number 4 for me is accidentally waving back at someone who wasn't waving at you. So they're waving at someone behind you. I just feel like it's the worst.
Yeah.
Well, it's no own number 4, mate.
Huh?
You said it's the worst. It's own number 4, though.
Good point. Yeah. You're 3?
Running for the bus.
Running for the bus.
You run for your train.
I mean, I run for everything. I'm just like the fastest, most purpose mode of transport. But yeah. My number 3 is tripping over something in public and trying to style it out. I feel like it always looks worse when you style it out. Yeah.
You got to drop and pretend you're doing push-ups when it happens. That's the best way to save it.
Dragging other people down to make yourself feel better. I think that's embarrassing.
Nice. I like your list. Asking for a high five or a handshake and getting ignored. When you just kind of like leave your hand there waiting for it. Kills me.
Accidentally letting a fart slip when you're in the cubicle.
Yeah, it's tough. For me, I do this all the time.
Oh.
Walking somewhere, realizing you've gone the wrong way, turning around and having to just like style out the turnaround. I don't know why, but I hate that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can imagine you doing that as well.
Yeah.
You just have to pretend you're looking around. You're like, oh, yeah.
I honestly, I go and then turn around.
I thought you'd be somebody that even if you're going the wrong way, you're going to keep going.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah. I'll
not
like do a
gonna turn
little
around.
loop round like down an alleyway
Just
and then
adamant.
like come back out.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
got another one just for a bonus.
Go on.
when you're walking your dog and you let it off the lead and you're trying to call it back and it's not coming. And everyone's just like staring at you, shout for your dog.
Yeah, because you're embarrassed because you think you're not in control of what's going on.
Yeah, which is
Just
absolutely true. In that
Losing
case.
so much aura when it happens. That it
Yeah.
just stares at you. Yeah.
I feel like that, but with my human child. Like, if you're in
Yeah.
public and they won't do what you say, it's like, I she normally does listen to me. But
Yeah, you got to say, oh, you do normally listen. No, you
Yeah.
don't. Run away and do what they want.
yeah, it's just kids. You got any honourable mentions?
No, because I didn't prepare this list.
Fair enough.
Can I add something?
I've got one as well.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go for it.
Mine's like an end thing to say.
Okay. Mine is when I did this 2 weeks ago with our talent. When you go for a handshake and I go for a hug.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That one is so bad. It's just so cringy.
Nice.
Hand into yeah.
Go on. What was your final point?
I feel like it wouldn't be me on the podcast if I didn't say that embarrassment is a choice. So if you have done any of those things or you do those things, don't let the anxiety of embarrassment cripple you, because you can easily just say, I'm not embarrassed, and then you don't have to feel embarrassed.
Nice.
I'm gonna try and put that into
You should.
my life. I'm gonna struggle, but I will try. Do you feel like you need to hype yourself up before recording any of these things? And if you do, like, is there something you do to get in the zone?
I don't have a ritual or anything. I genuinely just record how I'm feeling, so it's authentic. If I'm really nervous for something, I'll say. If I'm not, it will probably just come across. But affirmations for sure. Like, I won't say to myself, what if this goes wrong? What if that? Because I ain't going to do it then. Just don't think, just do is my motto.
Is there, other than just doing it, is there any other advice you'd give for people who just have like the crippling fear?
Fear is a normal thing, and don't feel bad for having it, because it's a survival thing that we have. But you can overcome it, and you are braver and more resilient than you think. You just have to take baby steps to push yourself and just see where it takes you. It's scary, but you've got to feel the fear and do it anyway.
So on that, if James and I were to do, let's say, 3 things, what 3 things should we do, like, in order to build ourselves up for the fear?
Ooh.
We might or might not do them. I don't know. We'll see.
I always think like a good one to kind of start off with is asking for a discount on a coffee or something.
Okay.
Some people it gets to, some people it doesn't.
On that, what you like in restaurants, like if the food's not good or...
Oh,
you
it's
don't
going
like it.
back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can be a kind person and still say like, this isn't what I asked for, or this isn't what I want, because it's not what I asked for.
I feel like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but like, I don't mind that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go to say something, my girlfriend will be like, no, don't say anything. Don't say anything. I don't want a fuss. And like, doesn't want to create a thing.
Yeah.
But it's me that would have to kind of deal with the situation.
Yeah.
So
If it's bad, it's got to go back. You can't have stuff that's not good if you've ordered it
Yeah.
and paying for it.
yeah,
No, I'll just eat it. I'll just eat it.
that's
I
why
won't like it and I'll eat it.
another guest
Why?
said you were a victim. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
What? So if you've ordered something and it's terrible, and
Unless there's-
you're eating it,
Yeah, yeah.
you're
Unle-
still eating it.
Unless there's actually like hair on it or something, then yeah, I'll grit my teeth and send it back. But luckily, when I go out to eat, I usually eat with my girlfriend, so she will do it
She'll
for me.
go back
She'll be
for you.
like, he doesn't like his food, and I'll just sit there in silence. It's just too, yeah, don't know. I just can't bring myself to do it.
Is she enabling your behaviour then?
No, she's backing me up, man.
Yeah, but she's allowing you.
She's
to be
speaking for the
scared.
silent masses. Silent masses being me. She's speaking for the victims.
Should you not be able to advocate for yourself though?
Oh, that's therapizing me on this podcast. I should be able to. Baby steps. I'll try.
Babe, that's your challenge. Next time you order something, it's not what you want. Take
Yeah.
it back. But it's-
if I'm ordering something on Uber Eats, no problem. I'll
You just send them a message.
easily send them a message. It's
Get
just
the
speaking to
refund
someone in
5 to
person.
7 days.
That's the problem.
challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Is it the fear of the judgment? Like, what is it?
I just feel bad for them. I felt because I put myself in their shoes. I'm like, oh, like they've already put all this hard work into making this food. I just don't want to I don't want to have to. I don't want them to make it again. That's the kind of thing for me.
I was going to say that. I was going to say there's a lot that goes into it. Like, and a lot of the time it's empathetic people.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to say to yourself, like, it's not your responsibility to handle other people's emotions. And if you've ordered something and it's not what you want, that's not your responsibility to feel what they may feel. And as well, you're just assuming what they'll feel. They could love making that meal.
You're also helping them because they might be making it, thinking it's good, but it's actually terrible.
Yeah.
And then there's people like you sat in there eating it.
This is delicious.
Send it back.
It's a good shout. Next time I go to a restaurant, I'll make sure to do that.
Okay.
Even if it's good.
Even if it's good, yeah.
Even if it's good. I'll still do it.
So step one, we've got to ask for a discount on a coffee. Then what?
Would you ask for a free coffee?
Yeah, I think I'd give it a go.
Yeah. I just got the urge to say, would you ask if you could push someone's trolley around the supermarket?
I think it depends who I'm asking.
Depends if there's a kid in there as well.
Yeah, that's because that's the thing. I think a lot of these things have like a separate connotation. Because that was the thing I thought with like the whole dog walking the dog thing. Like a lot of people could, if I was doing that, people could infer it in a very different way. And like you said, if there's a kid in a trolley, like
I don't think I could ask to push someone's trolley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd find that too weird.
if it was like,
If someone asked me that, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do you want to do that?
yeah,
It's too strange.
If it was like an old elderly person, then you wouldn't necessarily feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
But like if I went up to Bart and said, "Can I push your trolley around?" It's just going to be weird, isn't it?
Yes,
I
that's
just
the
feel, I
point.
just feel like you're like mentally unwell or something. Like,
Well, I
if you did
am,
that.
so-
Like,
Yeah.
So like that's the point. Obviously that's a big scary one to do at the first, but they are probably going to think that's a weird request. Like, are you okay? But that's the whole point because
But then if they
Just
say
like-
yes, I don't want to be.
Yeah, that's the next hour of your life done.
that happened to me. I asked someone and they said yeah, and then I just did someone shopping with them for 20 minutes. But yeah, the whole point of it is that they can think you're weird, but then nothing actually changes about you. Like you decide who you are. But like I said, this takes building up, like it's baby steps.
Okay. And then what's the final one we should do?
Maybe like asking to borrow someone's aftershave. Like going up to another man and being like, have you got any aftershave on you? Could I borrow some?
I feel like that's not that bad.
yeah,
People
that
always
was
ask you
alright.
what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know why that made me laugh. I feel like that's one just guys would, especially in like maybe an office sense, wouldn't be too bad with that one.
like a random fella on the train.
I think that's not as bad as the trolley one.
Yeah, I'd
'Cause,
much
like,
rather do that one.
Yeah,
train.
I'd much rather
Yeah.
I'd much rather go up to someone and ask for some aftershave, because I feel like that's within like blokes. I think that's fairly normal.
What if it was roll on? If you asked for roll on deodorant?
It's all like it's all got all the
Yeah.
No, no chance.
That's a different, I feel
Yeah.
that's different.
Do you use roll on?
No,
Yeah.
but like it feels more invasive, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Does it touch in the
Touch.
skin?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just unsanitary, isn't it? Like you don't know what, like maybe people might have skin conditions or whatever. So
Yeah.
I just wouldn't do that in general, like regardless.
No. But you wouldn't push people's trolley around either.
Yeah, no. And I would have sent my food back. Yeah, I've not lived really. I need to start doing these things.
I think this conversation though is such a valuable topic. Like it shows that everyone's tolerances are different and like you've got to do what feels right for you and something that slightly pushes you out of your comfort zone, but something that isn't going to, like I said earlier, send you into an anxiety spiral.
People obviously have different things that scare them and different fears. So for me, sending food back might be easier than something else. Why do you think that is? Like, do you think there's a psychology behind different things causing fear? Is it nature, nurture? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's because everyone's got completely different past experiences. Your upbringing will be different to yours. Same with you. And we all are building beliefs around how the world works. And if we've experienced something in the past that made us feel uncomfortable and awkward, our brain goes, that's a danger. Even though when you actually sit and think about it, it's not a real danger. Like it's not going to kill you, but our brain just doesn't know the difference. So your anxiety can be spiked for, standing near busy traffic, but then the same anxiety is going to be spiked when you go and ask to take your food back. So it's in that moment identifying that this isn't a real fear. Like it is a real fear, but it's just your brain trying to protect you, and then you can choose whether to overcome it or stay hostage to your brain.
That's really interesting.
Do you ever get other influencers involved in your content or other people in general?
You know what? Not as Not really, no. A few people like that watched my videos have ran after me one time and said like, "Oh, can we be in a video?" So I said, "Oh, why don't we do like a flash mob?" So we just started singing and dancing in front of everybody. That was good, but no, I'm very aware that my content can provoke anxiety in other people. So something I noticed was when other people, like my family and friends, were filming me, I'd always like make sure they were okay with it first, because yes, I'm choosing to do a rejection therapy, but not everybody is. Like my boyfriend isn't, for example.
Your agent sat over there. Do you think he would do one with you?
Because he's so nice, yeah. Like, would he feel anxious? Possibly, but I don't think he'd turn around and tell me no.
If you could do one with him today, what would you do?
Maybe saying you like someone's shoes and asking if you could try them on.
The trying them on that's. I love that.
You'd probably get rejected a bit easier in London, though, because people are so fast-paced, they'd be like, no. Whereas in your local town, that's when people are like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they've got time to think about it and listen. Whereas in London, you just kind of people push people away.
I feel like in London as well, like if someone asked you to try your shoes on, your perception would be that they would just like try and run away with them.
Yeah.
Like just put them on and just sprint away. Like those pranks people used to do in like shoe stores, like JD, like, oh, I like these shoes, and they would just like run out the store with them. So I feel like that would be the perception if you tried something like that here. Or any of that rejection therapy
You've
things.
done that.
No, never would have done. What, run away with someone's shoes?
He can't even send his food back.
Yeah. If I can take someone's shoes. No.
You'd be just giving your shoes and leaving it with them, running off barefoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let them take
Take
them.
the socks as well.
Yeah.
Part of rejection therapy is dealing with what people would say are like unwritten social rules. Like we seem to build them up in our mind as like, this is something you do, this is something you don't do. What do you think about that? Do you think like society has just come up with things that we just have agreed to do and not do?
Yeah. Embarrassment is conditioned. Like, do you know what conditioned means? Yeah.
Yeah.
So falling over in public, the only real reason why we find that embarrassing is because we're conditioned that falling over in public is embarrassing. But when you actually just ask yourself, like, do I actually feel embarrassed? Like, if I knew for a fact no one had seen me fall over, would I feel embarrassed? And the answer would be no. So rather than just quickly jump into, oh my God, I feel embarrassed, I've messed up my presentation in work, that's so embarrassing. Just ask yourself, is it actually embarrassing? Like, do I feel embarrassed? And this happened to me when I used to work at the vets. My manager, in front of everyone, made a bit of a comment about me that everyone laughed at. And I remember thinking in my head, I should feel embarrassed right now. But I asked myself, do I actually feel embarrassed? Because I'm still safe, I'm still breathing. And I was like, well, I don't feel embarrassed, so I'm just going to shrug it off.
Do you think there are things people should feel embarrassed about?
Yeah, being like a bad person or rude person. I think that's embarrassing. Falling over in public, it's not embarrassing. Like, it's not. It's only embarrassing if you say it's embarrassing.
I agree, but like in my head, I just won't ever not find it embarrassing.
Yeah, because it's a subconscious link.
Yeah.
But you've got to, this is the thing, you've got to consciously make the changes in your mind to feel about it differently. So like the next time you fell over in public, for example, yeah, you might instantly feel a bit of that embarrassment, but then afterwards, like take a deep breath and say, oh, well, am I safe? Does anyone care? No. And then you then choose if you shrug it off.
Yeah, makes sense. I think rejection for a lot of people is associated with like dating and relationships and things like that. So I've got a couple of questions around that. I'm going to start with, do you think ghosting is better or worse than a blunt no without justification?
Ooh, it's so situational, isn't it? I'd always say it's better just to be transparent and communicate with that person. But some people find it hard to be open and transparent. And I think that is an answer in itself. If someone ghosts you, it's so easy to think, oh, what's wrong with me? But no, you've just dodged a bullet because this person can't communicate with you. So that has actually done you a favour.
What about if they think telling the truth? This sounds like I'm asking, like a friend said, like what if they think it would be hurting your feelings if they were honest? So they ghost instead.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you just don't like somebody or they smell, for example, you don't want to text them saying, not dating you anymore because you stink. Obviously, there's ways to word it and you don't have to go into details. And most people won't, like no one's that mean. But if someone was mean to you and said that to you, then validate your feelings, but know that you then get to choose whether that affects you or whether you can choose to, you know, make a difference on that. Because I also think people telling you things, it's a good way to be more self-aware, isn't it?
Mm. Have you got any interesting stories of rejection in asking people out or?
Not in love, mate. No.
No, is it always a yes? Is
I've
it?
been in a relationship for like 16 years, so it's a long time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you should have asked me that to prepare, mate. Then I might have got something.
What about yourself, Bart?
I feel like I've been on both ends of ghosting and being ghosted. So I know it's always tough to reject someone, but you just have to do it, innit?
Moving on now to more of like the influencer side of content.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have a really unique style of content, and it's surely presented some like interesting brand partnership opportunities. So I want to know, firstly, what's your favourite brand partnership you've done?
The first thing that comes to mind is giffgaff. And I love giffgaff because they just let me be so creative. They're very on board with the kind of content I create, and they're very much like, be outlandish, be vibrant, the more energetic, the better, which is nice to feel like a brand supporting the content I do. So I really like giffgaff. But all the brands I work with are amazing brands. I feel very lucky.
What was the
Nice.
first brand you worked with? And what did that feel like?
Oh, first brand I worked with was Boost Energy Drinks.
Solid.
It felt aligned because my content is very energetic. So, you know, how do we get that energy? You can get it from energy drinks. But yeah, it was exciting. It was nice to know that like brands want to work with me, and my content is different to most. So it did think in my mind like, oh, is that going to affect how brands want to work with me? But if anything, it's just created a new and interesting avenue to create brand partnerships, which I think brands like.
Nice.
What do you think of the word influencer? And do you think you're an influencer?
I love the word influencer. There's definitely a lot of cringe and ick surrounding it. But if you're an influencer, you can use that influencer title whichever way you want. And I like to think that I'm an influencer because I'm influencing people to live a bit more, be more confident, overcome your fears. And when I first started, like, I used to think to myself, do I want to call myself an influencer? But now I'm like, I am an influencer and I love that. And there's nothing wrong with that saying.
You're the first person that's come on the pod that said that.
Genuine.
Everyone else that comes on says, nah, I'm a content creator or I'm an internet personality or something else. Everyone's afraid to be called an influencer because they feel like...
They find the word dirty.
Yeah, they find it a dirty word.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone asked me what my job was, I'd say I make TikTok videos. I wouldn't say someone, I am an influencer.
Yeah.
But if someone said like, oh, you're an influencer, I wouldn't think, oh, I'd think, oh, that's really lovely. Like I'm influencing people for the better.
Yeah.
I guess that's because you have a message and a meaning to your content. I think it's nice.
I think a lot of influencers feel like that though, because there's a lot of jealousy around it. Like, obviously, everyone knows now that influencers get sent stuff for free and all this stuff. So I possibly feel like the influencers that feel icky towards that are probably just feeling icky because people project that ickiness onto them. But the fact that they have a platform, like that's such a valuable, amazing thing that they could use to make the world a better place. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to call yourself an influencer.
That's interesting. It makes me think of something Sam Cornforth said on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he was basically saying like he used to be so embarrassed of the content he made. Nothing changed over the years. He made the same content, but millions of people watched it. And it went from people saying, oh, what are you doing? You're making your silly little videos, to people wanting to be friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly as you say, like it's all about like the context of becoming an influencer. Suddenly it's not embarrassing to film yourself in public and to do these things. So,
It's jealousy.
Don't
be jealous.
I like it.
What would be a dream brand for you to work with?
Anything mindset related. So Calm, BetterHelp. Obviously, I'd love things like Disney. But things that have the same message that I do. I really like Nivea because they're very body positivity. I'm passionate about working with brands that feel aligned to like the messages that I also share.
Yeah, nice.
Dream collab with another creator? Anyone you'd love to film with?
Oh, have you heard of Ollie Bowman?
Mm-hmm.
Him.
Nice.
He's just great.
What does he do?
It's just like his vibes, isn't he? He's like everything's super.
Yeah. Similar content, like proven that you shouldn't care what people think and you're just a passing moment to other people. He's helped me a lot in my journey.
What is the funniest interaction with a fan that you've had?
Oh, the first time I ever got recognised, this blew my head off. I was driving with my boyfriend and I wasn't even paying attention. I was sat in the front seat, but I was looking down at my phone. And my boyfriend's like, who's that, like, trying to get the attention from the car in front? And someone was, like, knocking on the back of their car and had wrote rejection therapy on Snapchat and was holding it, like, to the back of the car window so we seen, and then, like, overtook us and was like, way. And that was the first time I ever got recognised. And it was such a surreal feeling because, one, it was the first time I got recognised, but two, like, it wasn't even like I was out and open. I had my head down and stuff. Even my boyfriend was like, wow, that was quite crazy, but in a nice way.
Nice.
Where's the weirdest place you've been spotted?
I feel like the toilets are always a weird one. It typically happens on a night out, so everyone's obviously got a bit more courage. I'm always happy to talk to anyone who comes up to me, but when it's a night out and they've had a drink, I have been stood there for quite some time, sometimes listening to people's life stories. And I think because I have like quite a therapy kind of way of thinking, people like to put that on me. So I've realised recently that I need to set up boundaries and say, like, I'm happy to listen to you and give you a bit of advice, but this is a night out, like technically on switch off mode.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned about like the therapy side of things. Notice that you've got an event coming up. It would have happened by the time this episode goes live. So unfortunately we can't like shout about it, but talk us through it. What's going to happen? What's going on there?
I have got an event planned. So it's all about letting go of what is actually holding you back. And so many people say, oh, well, it's myself holding me back. And I know, like, that's the point. There's a belief that you have, whether you got it in childhood or you got it from someone else, that stops you from being your authentic, confident self. So this event is going to dive deep into what it is that's holding you back, overcome it and let go of it, and then I'm going to give people the tools that they can use to step into the most confident version of themselves. And it's going to be set in nature, wholesome vibes, like-minded people, just like a nice wholesome event, and I'm really excited for it.
Where's it going to be?
It's at the Partridge Lakes in Culture. It's nowhere near London, but it's near Manchester, and it's just like a really wholesome setting,
Nice.
quite intimate, so I'm excited.
Is this the first time doing something like this?
No, I've done 2 events in the past. I've done like a vision board one near the new year. And then I did something called the Empowerment Experience, where we all collectively pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone. So I said to everyone, bring a goggles or a shower cap, and we're going to do a workshop on how to overcome fear. We're going to go out in public, push ourselves out of our comfort zone, and then we're going to come back and see what actually happened. And everyone just felt really alive after it, because doing it in a group is such a more supported space than doing it on your own.
How many people were at the goggles one? I'm just trying to like picture it.
There was 20 people at the goggles one. So 20 of us all walking around the town centre.
Nice.
Yeah,
I bet that was a sight.
it was a sight. But you know what? It probably really made some people's
Yeah.
days.
Is there anything events-wise that you want to do moving forward? Any like big plans to take it up a notch?
Yeah, I'd love to go into motivational speaking and stuff. I've been building myself up. Like my first event I ever did, I didn't want to sell hundreds of tickets and then feel overwhelmed and pressured. I'd rather sell 20 tickets and feel like I feel comfortable, and then each event increase the tickets. But I'd like to create like a positive community that does events quite often in my local area. That is something I'm working on.
Nice. If your life was a TV series, what would it be called?
The show must go on. Let me explain. If you do something embarrassing, the show must go on. Someone talks bad about you, the show must go on. Got to keep it moving. Let it go. Keep going.
Nice. I like it.
What's your question, Bart? Have you got a question of the
I
week?
do have a question of the week.
Bart's question of the week.
Apart from your fear of rejection and embarrassment, what is your biggest fear?
Good question.
Recently, I've realised that it's jumping off things, heights.
Right. Are you ever going to like then challenge that the way you challenge rejection and embarrassment?
Yeah, and I know it's coming. something that would genuinely make me feel anxious, that would push me out my comfort zone, is a skydive. And I know that because the content I make is all about pushing yourself out your comfort zone, at some point I'm likely going to have to do a skydive.
Yeah. Are you gonna try and do like or if we hit this many followers, you're gonna skydive or whatever, or like a bungee jump? What's worse, a bungee jump or a skydive
I
to you?
think a bungee jump.
I've
Yeah.
done a bungee jump.
Have you?
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Where?
God.
I did it in London at the O2. They do it there, off like a massive crane, and you just hurtling towards the floor.
I feel like it. will
And
be
I was
worse.
also very hungover doing it.
Ooh.
My missus had bought me it for Christmas, lovingly, and then organised it on a Sunday, and I'd gone out the night before. Yeah, I remember going up on that thing, going, I don't want to do this, don't want to do this, and then, yeah.
I feel like it's worse that
I'd do
'cause
it
it's
again.
It's
I'd do
over
it again, though.
concrete. If it was like
Yeah.
in the nature of a water,
Yeah.
I feel less like daunting. But because it's in the city and there's
Yeah.
just buildings under you, it's even worse.
I do it again. I do a skydive as well. I really want to do a skydive.
Yeah.
Were
What-
you scared going into it?
The bungee jump.
Yeah.
I think because I was hungover, I didn't really have a choice and let my mind think about that.
Yeah.
I'd probably say if I thought about it, I'd have been pretty scared.
And you feel better now that you've done it? Better like to do it again?
I'd know what to expect, yeah.
So I
Honestly,
guess
it's weird, a weird feeling. You feel like your limbs are coming out your body. It's
It just looks like you get a wedgie, like because of the harness. Like just like do you just get like really squeezed up when like it finally hits that
a
deep?
little bit. And I remember the being on the top of the thing and the guy going 3, 2, and then expecting 1. He pushed me on 2. So then you're just gone and you hurtle towards the floor.
Do you think you were going to hit the ground? Is that a thought that comes up?
Like because like you watch other people do it and they come down and they're not that far away. Well, they're far away, but probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 meters, but it still looks like they're coming close. You do think when you're going towards the ground, I'm going to hit that thing. And then you go boing back up. Actually, the boing bit, when you go back up, that's the worst bit, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because you just go.
Because then
up
you're just
and
sort
down.
of flopping up and down for a little bit.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Just like the adrenaline's gone.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going towards the floor again.
Would you prefer to do a skydive or a bungee jump? Like if you had to pick between the two?
I think I'd rather a skydive.
Okay.
What about you?
Neither. My 2 biggest fears in life are spiders and heights. So if there's ever a plane full of spiders somewhere, I'm cooked.
You don't like planes?
Yeah, no, I don't like planes.
Really?
It just makes no sense for a big metal tube to be thousands of feet in the sky. Like, it just makes no sense. What are we doing
fly
there?
though, don't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. No, I just walk everywhere, mate. Yeah, of course I fly.
But when you're on that flight, are you scared?
Yeah, always.
The whole time?
Especially when I see the wing flopping. Like, it makes, like, again, why is it like doing that? Well, it's not a bird. Why is it doing that? I thought it would be like just straight and solid, but no. And turbulence. Yeah, that's the worst. Yeah.
Interesting.
Heights and spiders.
What's your worst fear?
It probably is like, because I'm not that bothered about heights or spiders, so I'm all right on that. But it probably is like mass embarrassment. And there's not really, I don't know.
I watched an Irish guy on YouTube that went to a place called Snake Island. It's just an island in the middle of, I don't know, it might be the Philippines, just infested with like the biggest snakes in the world. That would be...
Are you scared of snakes?
Oh, yeah. For me, it's snakes. Mate, the size of these things as well, they were enormous. They're not just like the little ones.
Yeah.
They are like 20 feet long.
I still think
Like,
spiders are worse. Like, imagine seeing like a tarantula or a huntsman like that big. Like, nah, they're just creepy, man. They got no business being that big and fast.
Isn't it weird how when you get older, you fear more things?
Yeah. I never used to be scared of spiders growing up.
Maybe it's like the naivety of not knowing what they can do or things can do. I guess if you're scared of heights, have you seen more plane incidents and...
Yeah, no, I think it's just the turbulence when you experience it for the first time. That's just that. Yeah, makes you really freak out. Even though it won't kill you, but it's still just scary.
My dad's parents died in a plane crash. Imagine it. When he was 21, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you made me more scared of planes. But just by
And
saying that.
the craziest thing is, right, my dad's dad, he was a doctor, but also an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And he drew, before they went, a plane crashing into a mountain in flames. And that happened.
Jesus Christ.
That's insane.
yeah.
Mad.
Now I'm more scared of it because you never actually know anyone that died in a plane crash. But
That's
now
what
that
you-
you've
that's
said
what
it,
you think.
yeah.
People always say
What
like
do
you're
you
more
think?
likely to be struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I remember being told that his parents died in a plane crash for the
Yeah.
first time. And I was like, oh my God, that's scary. And
Yeah,
then when
right.
you're actually on the plane, oh yeah, they actually did die in a plane crash. People think, oh, you don't know anyone, but then I didn't know them, but then my dad's parents that
Yeah.
died in a plane
Your
crash.
grandparents, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
strange.
Mad.
And on that note,
On that note.
Any final comments for viewers that need support and help in handling rejection?
Remember that rejection doesn't define your worth. Rejection is redirection. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So when you do get rejected, you don't have to dwell on it. You can use it to become more resilient.
Love it.
My final question is, you've been through the show with us. Who do you think we should get on next? That either you follow or enjoy their content?
The first thought that popped into my head was Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Bet you get on well with him.
Maybe a few more years we'll get one.
But in terms of
Realistic
Yeah,
ones. You can say
realistic.
that. It's fun.
Molly Marsh.
okay.
We were supposed to have her on a few weeks ago, and that something came up, she couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get her on.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Nice one. Well, Sophie, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Just thank you for having me.
Awesome.
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for coming on. It's been fascinating.
I have one more thing.
Yep.
You guys should definitely do something today where you
Okay.
either purpose to get rejected or push yourself out your comfort zone.
We'll do something with the next guest.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Brilliant. Well,
Think
thanks
of
so much for coming on.
Thank
That's been
you.
very insightful and good fun.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you
Bye-bye.
next week.